Okay, I'm bored. I have no camera. I'm not getting a camera till probably near the end of February. So you're gonna have to stare at the mini cam thing for now. But I wanted to make a little point. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on anyone out there. Whatever you feel is right, that's your choice. I choose to feel something different, then that's me. But I realized today, I was thinking about it. We have a black president now. And many people are saying racism is gone now that we have a black president, and that's not necessarily true. Because if you think about it, out of the millions of people that voted, you know there were some people that voted for John McCain just because they didn't want a black president. They didn't care what either of them were attempting to do with the country. I was a Barack Obama guy at the beginning because I just wanted to be alive for some huge event that I could tell my grandkids. So yeah, selfish. But then I kind of listened to both of them. Realized Sarah Palin's an idiot, and I have no idea about the VP, the new VP. So I really didn't care who won because I didn't know anything about him. But I was sitting there thinking, now if you're in a situation where you see two black girls fighting anywhere, could be after school, in the park, at a store, what do you tell your friends? Don't sit there and deny it. Don't just listen. You tell your friends, guess what? I saw two black girls fighting. Now, if racism was gone, you wouldn't feel the need to point out that they were black. You don't go, hey, I saw two Mexican girls fighting. You don't say, hey, I saw two white chicks fighting. No. If they're not black, you don't say, I saw two insert race chicks fighting. If you see two white girls fighting, you go, hey, I saw two white girls. You don't say, I saw two white girls. You said, hey, I saw these two girls fighting. But then when they're black, you say, hey, I saw these two black girls fighting. And this all popped in my head because my mom came home from work, who is the least racist person I've ever met. She doesn't even find gangster stuff annoying as hell, which I do. She came in and said, hey, there was two black girls fighting. And then I thought about it. What makes people feel the need to point out that these were black girls? They don't point out anything else. They could have been fat, they could have been skinny, they could have been anorexic looking, they could have been yo mama looking and all that. No, they just point out that they were black girls. And then what pops in your head? Sorry if I offend anyone, but when I hear black girls, I know it's rude and I wish I didn't have this, but when I hear black girls fighting, I picture the big booty, horrible dressed black girls fighting, and I know that's wrong, and I wish I didn't do that, but it's just proving my point that despite how people feel, despite how far we've come from back when in the slave days to having a black president, people are still racist. Even the people that claim not to be, they still point out that their color. And who knows if that'll ever be gone. I heard, who was it? Lupe Fiasco. He had a video explaining what he feels it would take for racism to be gone. He basically said, we have to raise a generation unknowing. And what he means is we would have to raise a generation that didn't know about any country's history. America, we had slavery. That's influencing racism thoughts. Like, when they're younger, they could think, if we had dominion over them then, why don't we now? And then they could get white superiority complex. And then, even if you cut out America's histories, you got the Germans. They were non-tolerant of beliefs. So I can see where he's coming from. The fact that you would want, or you would have to wipe the slate clean for those kids to grow up tolerable, you know? Because I've seen kids that were sheltered from everything, sheltered from Eminem, ICP, Marilyn Manson, stuff like that, and they have nothing against people of the other color. I'm like, that's a little extreme, yeah. It's kind of stupid to shelter your kids, but then it does make a good point. Those sheltered kids grow up with no hate in their hearts. Meanwhile, all these kids who are exposed, so to say, to public schools where you have the N-word flying around, and cracker, and wetback, and beaner, and chink, and all that flying around, those kids are bound to at least see some kind of negative influence in that person thanks to what they hear around them. I'm not saying peer pressure would make you racism or racist, because I personally think peer pressure is another name for choice. Because, yeah, your friends could go, ooh, you're a pussy because you didn't do this or that. Yeah, I can see how that could affect you, but I'm that kind of person that thinks no matter what, you have a choice. You could have a gun to your head, and that doesn't mean you have to do what that person holding the gun wants you to do. You still have a choice whether you get shot in the head or not. So you could have 50 friends around you going, hate the black people, and you still have a choice whether you want to listen to them or not. So, in my opinion, peer pressure is bull. Now I lost where I was, but basically, Lupe Fiasco. There I am. He mentioned wiping the slate clean, like I had said earlier, and I think that might be the only possible way. Either wipe the slate clean or shelter your kids. Now, that would be the fastest way, in my opinion. I think eventually, over time, possibly thousands of years, because we're like 200, 300 years. Yeah, shut up. I'm bad with time because I didn't give a crap in school. I graduated, but yeah. It would either take a buttload of time for people to get over racism, or you start off a generation, kickstart them completely clean, and then that's not gonna happen. And I found a hole. I just thought of a hole in that theory because you're gonna end up with those people that still feel racism should stay. They'll be the ones to screw up that whole plan. They won't even agree to it, and down the drain it goes. So that's basically my rant on racism. I could keep going, but I don't want to take too much of your time. Leave your comments and thoughts. I'll reply. Peace.